Hi everybody, it's August 21st, 2020, and today I'm just going to recount a story of something that happened 3 years ago this day. Again, nothing magical about doing things on the anniversary date. It's part of, getting more closure that way for some reason. But anyway, again, if you haven't watched that video yet, maybe before or after this video, try and watch it. I linked it in the card above at the beginning of the video. It's in the pinned comment below, and it's in the description below, so that's how important it is. I really want to express my thankfulness to all the people who have supported me. Even my last bullying and discrimination video for having autism, that video I got a wonderful comment from one of my friends in Spain. They don't go unnoticed. I feel very blessed to have such a camaraderie. Those do mean a lot, probably more than what you know, but in order to start to screw the cap on, then talking this out in such a video is like a therapeutic catharsis for me. It's a release for me. And then when the cap is fully screwed on, that's like the maximum closure. And that is achieved when, I have understanding from the people who have done it. Like what I said in the other video is I don't mention names, but if the person realizes that they're the ones who did it so long ago, then maybe they'll reach out to me privately, and then we could just have like a friendly just a talk, or for a few seconds get to know one another instead of them just jumping to their conclusion. The other thing about these videos is if a person watches this and they're like, oh, that's how I treated that person, then maybe they'll get the message to try and talk and apologize to that person. But that is the maximum closure right there. That's when you completely close the cap and throw it away and such. Well, anyway, that was the intro. So let's talk about what happened 3 years ago today. I woke up early in the morning, and my mother and I went over to OCC because it was the Great American Solar Eclipse. If you want to see tons of my pictures, or tons of our pictures that my mother and I have taken, please watch the video in the card above sometime if you want to. And this is where we got these sun shades, or so, where we could look at the sun and at the eclipse. And it was an excellent time. There's a lot of people, a lot of people in solar telescopes out, and of course I know a lot of the people and professors over there because I was part of the astronomy club. I took Astronomy 100 with this professor, I took the lab with that professor, and it's just a wonderful camaraderie. But at the start, I know that this is a family-friendly event. I'm sure that a lot of people would come with their families, and if you watched my video from August 18th to the 19th, then you would understand why I was sort of a little bit paranoid about seeing this man. What if this man came with his daughter and such? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then I highly encourage you to watch this other video that I made a couple of days ago. It's a little lengthy, but long story short, I didn't see the man. But as I said in that video, I did see one of my Royal Ranger buddies, I guess, who at the time and still now doesn't necessarily, want to think I'm alive or something. But let's take a little flashback to that video and see what happened. I did, however, see a Royal Ranger, his younger sister, and the mother. But, this is a type of Royal Ranger that sort of discriminates against me. So when he saw me, it was like, "What are you doing here?" type countenance, and so he literally almost fell over or so, and such. And he gave that that smile that told me that he did not want to have seen me. So it happens. There's been a couple of Royal Rangers in the past 7 years of being a commander that here and there just extraordinarily dislikes me, calls me names, does a lot of things. But we want them there. We care about them. I care about them. I care about all of them. And Royal Rangers is probably the best place that they could be at for such a time as this and such, and hopefully gear them toward, you know, being young men and becoming men of God and being leaders in their community. So that was like the only thing that I recall happening. Other than that, it was an excellent day, or an excellent event. And then we were picked up around noon or just a little past noon, and for some reason we had to go to Ralph's. And so this is where this, you know, YouTube video, the purpose of this YouTube video, this is where it starts. And I come up with a bright idea to go to the other Ralph's that was down the street that we hardly go to. I just wanted, you know, a change, you know, like a sense of adventure and change. It's like we haven't been there, and I was wanting to go there again. And it may have been part of, you know, if you watched my other video from August 18th to the 19th, if it was the 19th where I was coming the other way, walking to the park, then that probably represented change, like wanting to, you know, change some things, kind of like a new person type thing. I mean, I know I'm not a new person, but I mean, like, metaphorically speaking, like trying to change what has happened in the past, which I didn't, even in retrospect, don't think how that would work. I mean, I'd still look the same, and people look at me, and then they decide to discriminate. And I don't know, or maybe I just wanted to return back to this Ralph's. Now I want to set the scene here to make it easier for you to understand. We have Ralph's here in Costa Mesa on this corner, and then we have a city block, and then we have another city block, and there's a Ralph's on the opposite corner. Like two Ralph's almost next to each other. And this Ralph's is in Costa Mesa. This is where we've been going to for like over half my life. And then this Ralph's is in Newport Beach, and we hardly ever go to that one. And I just wanted like a change, and boy was that a bright idea. So we go in, and you know, I'm just doing some shopping, or we're just doing some shopping. And so I'm going one way, and I'm browsing around, and I remember browsing around the cereal aisle. And this was the year where Mills, or General Mills, I believe, the ones that do Cinnamon Toast Crunch, was coming up with some novelties, like Apple Toast Crunch, and I think Blueberry Toast Crunch, and things, and I just wanted to, you know, try them all, one by one. So I believe I was just looking and trying to wonder, what have I tried, what haven't I tried yet? And what's new? Like, there's, I think, 3 novelty items, I guess. And while I was doing so, here comes a boy that comes over. Looks middle school, maybe early high school, just around that age. And there were 2 of them, or at least eventually. The other one looked a little older by maybe a year or 2, or they may have been the same age. And I was just browsing, just looking, you know, at the cereal. And, you know, they started to become silent. I mean, they started to, you know, stop whispering to each other and silent. And in my peripheral vision, it seemed like one of them was, you know, just, not just silent, but still. I mean, abnormally still. And I think he was smirking or something. I think he was looking over in his peripheral vision. But at any rate, they just left. And so I'm like, well, I'm kind of at the master at misinterpreting things, so who knows what happened. So I just continue shopping, and I have like 3 or 4 items, and I come to the checkout stand, and only one was open. And I look up, and I see the 2 boys again, and they're, you know, like laughing and at each other, and they always kept on looking at me. They always kept on turning over and then smiling and smirking and laughing, and who knows what they were thinking. Now, in retrospect, I mean, I'm not sure what happened. I don't know what that was about, and I'm not accusing anything, but I would not be surprised if they were going to try and lift something that day, and they're just making sure that I wasn't watching. That's a low possibility, but, you know, I always give the benefit of the doubt to everybody. And eventually, they start to come, and I'm like, if they're about to check out now, I hope it's now, because I was the last person in line. It was the only line, and I'm like, any second somebody's going to come behind me, and so I'm starting to panic. I'm wanting them to come over and get in line, and they sort of parted ways. The younger looking one went that way, and the older looking one came my direction. And then I think at the same time there's, you know, a person slowly coming behind me, and finally the older looking boy comes right over here, and I'm like, yes, thank you, Jesus. Now the tables have turned. I saw that he only had one item, I think it was a bag of chips, and I said, could you go first? Do you want to go first? And he's like, what? What? Okay, thank you. And he just went ahead of me, and that was about the same time that the man behind me came behind me, because if I did that after he came behind me, then he might get mad for having me have somebody cut in front of me, if you get what I'm saying. And so now the tables have turned, and I get to, you know, share the kindness and to prove to them I'm not a monster like they probably thought I was. And so eventually the younger looking boy comes over, and he sees me here, he sees his friend there in front of me, and he's like, how'd that happen? And the older looking boy, like, I don't think he was smiling, I think he was still a little contemplating of what happened. He said, he let us go in front of us. And then that's when the younger looking boy droops and looks at me and says, oh, thank you, and comes in front. So I mean, anything to, you know, share kindness regardless, but especially if they were the type of people that just assumed I was a monster or worse, then at least now they know that I'm not, and that I'm really, you know, caring and want to see them succeed in life and such. And they went in front of me. It was about 12:40 in the afternoon, and that was it. I don't think I've ever seen them ever again. What I would hope that happened is that they just felt like a sense of guilt of what they've probably been doing, like making fun of me and teasing me, but I'm not the type of person that wants people to actually even feel bad. I just want them to understand, and I just want them to, you know, just treat others the same, treat others how they would want to be treated, treat others nicely and respectfully, and not jump to their conclusions and such. I mean, again, I didn't ask to have autism, but there's nothing I could do about it. However, I feel blessed for having it. It brought me a lot of places. It also put empathy in me so I could understand anybody, autism or not, who are bullied. Because of that, I could effectively encourage other people to, you know, not give up, because if I could do it, then you could do more. If I could do all these things, publish a book, earn a degree in chemistry, play piano, juggle, do all these things, I'm sure you could do all of those things plus more. It just depends on what you're passionate of doing, what your calling is. And so that's why I'm been fighting hard to, you know, share this all over, from YouTube to radio, podcast, to news organizations, to all the schools in Newport Mesa Unified School District and all the adjacent districts and wherever I could be at. So far, I only got 2 minutes of radio time on April 2nd this year, but if you're that type of person who knows how to get me, you know, to a lot more places, news, podcast, newspapers, or wherever, please contact them and just put my name forward. I've already done that a million times over, and like almost nothing, but anyway, I just want to be an encouragement and help people. So anyway, that's my day 3 years ago today, and just like a couple of days ago, this story that I just told you, I never told anybody. I don't believe I ever told anybody. So let's quickly conclude with an assessment. How do I feel? I feel a lot relieved. I mean, I feel a lot released to have released that. I mean, I feel, you know, better. I feel more optimistic, and you know, just the hope that you know, people would watch this and stay encouraged, and maybe those two boys would watch this and realize that it was them, and maybe they might apologize and, you know, get to know me for who I really am, not who they think I am and such. So I'm glad that I made this video. If you have autism or anything like that, where, you know, somebody is mean to you and you just can't forget it, then just release it, talk it out to somebody. You don't have to go on YouTube, but just go, like, maybe to your parent, your teacher, another family member, somebody that you could trust, and just release it, talk it out. and just see what they say. Maybe they'll have encouragement, maybe even better encouragement. So anyway, that was this video. Stay strong, be happy, and have an excellent day.